Coming up this week on the Course of Life podcast at Colonial Country Club, we had a familiar face clinging to a lead that he could not hold on to. We get into the drama there, plus a lot more in the world of golf, including part one of our book club chat on the new scandalous Phil Mickelson biography. We're tuned into all the hype and a movie that has us stirring as well, too. Plus, this week's guest is Korn Ferry Tour pro Jay Card. He has an interesting background and a musical one at that. Plus, the Celtics championship run rolls on, and it's grilling season and tons more bread from Mike when we always end with food. All of it brought to you by our friends at Desert Fox Golf. They're the makers of the phone caddy. It's the easy device that you lock onto any golf cart to keep your phone safe and tidy and clean and unencumbered at all times. Desert Fox has a wide array of colors, designs, and everything you need to keep your phone safe on the golf course for 18 holes. So check out desertfoxgolf.com. Our promo code is Course of Life because we're friends of the show and we want to give you 10% off. So go ahead to desertfoxgolf.com and enter code Course of Life. Again, that's Course of Life, COURSEOFLIFE, to save 10% off your phone caddy today at desertfoxgolf.com.
Hello, interwebs, and welcome to Course of Life, part of the Morning Read Podcast Network. We are proud to be presented by our friends at Desert Fox Golf, Toasty Snacks, and Volvic. I'm Michael, he's Alex. And Alex, I was all prepared to say that Scottie Scheffler was back on top after his down week at a major, right? And that he had returned to form and he was here to stay. And we can say that he kind of sort of did that, but at the end of the day, Sam Burns drained a long putt from the fringe on the playoff hole and took down the hottest golfer in the game right now. So now the question is, Scottie Scheffler out for the count, Sam Burns on to win a major, or am I completely making stuff up like I usually do?
Well, these are two friends that are kind of passing by right now in different directions. It's like Scottie Scheffler has just had the highest of highs. He's still on top of the world of golf, but yet at the same time, his old buddy Sam Burns, who he's known actually for a long time, these guys went back to junior golf together, Mike. So they have a long history. They're bros. They're buds. So this is interesting to see them passing by here at Colonial, and Sam Burns coming from 7 shots back for the second week in a row, Mike. We had JT come back from 7 back, and now Sam Burns did the same thing to steal the title from his buddy. It was interesting to see the way it all played out. But Mike, when you were leading a PGA Tour event, if you go birdie free, I don't say that term very often. I usually say bogey free, but if you go birdie free on the PGA Tour, you're going to have a tough time holding the lead, and that's exactly what happened to even the best player in the world.
Yeah, Scottie Scheffler just needed one birdie on his card, and he would have won the tournament.
Exactly, literally just one, yeah.
Literally one birdie. That's all he needed. Or one less bogey, maybe, either way. These guys did go in opposite directions throughout the week. Scottie Scheffler opened with a 66 and ended with a 72, and Sam Burns 71 and ended with a 65. And I know that you have a particular theory on why Scottie Scheffler really did lose this playoff.
Yeah, it's funny, and it didn't obviously dawn on me until I saw the social media evidence after the fact, but Scottie Scheffler had a lingering wedding in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Now, noted, they're playing in Fort Worth, so this is a local PGA Tour event for him, who's in the DFW Metroplex. You know how traffic works, though, on any given evening, though. It's not quick to get around anywhere. And he had a wedding in the Dallas area for his sister-in-law on Sunday evening. So allegedly, he scurried directly from this playoff loss to the wedding. Now, Mike, I don't know about you. I'm a human being. You're a human being. I think Scottie Scheffler's a decent human being as well, too. If you knew you had that wedding lingering on your mind and you were potentially going to show up late to a family member's nuptials, I don't know. I'm not saying it affected his brain power to win on the PGA Tour, but definitely something to think about. Maybe I don't know if it racked his brain at all at any portion of Sunday, but an interesting day for Scheffler nonetheless. After the playoff loss, going straight to the wedding for the family.
I'm sure Scottie Scheffler would say that he's a family man, that he cares about his family, that he was weighing on him the whole day. But he's also an athlete, and he wanted to win no matter what.
I mean, I freaking thought he did. I had him at 10-1, Mike. He was the lead guy in my picks all week. I was touting the Dallas area guys, mainly Scottie Scheffler and Jordan Spieth, who had a decent week as well too. I think he was top 15 or 20 or so. But bottom line, a few of those guys did come through. My picks were decent on runyourpool.com, which is where you can see my weekly content and blog and preview of the PGA Tour event. But overall, Scheffler was my guy. I was riding him all week. Just could not get it done Sunday evening. Shout out to Sam Burns, though. 3 quick wins here in short order. We have to keep his name in more regular rotation now as we get to some bigger tournaments this time of year.
That's right. Also, quick shout out to Mito Pereira, who was able to have a good bounce back weekend, I think, after that devastating final hole. And also, everyone's favorite player to hate on tour, Patrick Reed, had 266s to start the week. It didn't finish strong, really, but he's finishing his PGA career really strong before he jumps ship to the LIV Tour. So.
Right, it could be any moment now. I mean, again, the LIV Tour, the fire festival of golf right now. We'll get into that. We're literally just days away from the event, and we have nothing confirmed about who is actually going to be there for the first tournament. It's great.
No, let's talk. We were going to talk about it. Let's talk about it. It's a good segue here. Let's talk about the LIV event. We were supposed to know on Friday who was going to be playing in this first event. And there was a theory out there I saw that was, did the tour have guys waiting with pink slips in the scoring tents to just hand to these players who said they were going to be playing on the LIV Tour and say, hey, bye. So now that announcement didn't happen. So now the theory is this is coming at Memorial. So is this a giant middle finger to Jack for not taking a $100 million plus offer? And they're saying, we're just going to do it during your tournament instead, Jack?
Yeah, actually. And Greg Norman's going to wait until the moment Jack Nicklaus slips on air into the CBS booth with Jim Nantz. That's the moment they're going to drop the announcement on the players. Yeah.
It's just, again, it's not real until we have names. It's not real until it happens.
Again, I keep comparing this to the Fire Festival because this is what happened. The Fire Festival promised Major Lazer and Blink 182 and a wide variety of headlining acts and the most amazing, immersive, island paradise music festival you could ever imagine, and it turned into a Netflix documentary about the worst business ever held. So I feel like we're on that path right now, so I keep leaning into that theory.
So that begs the question, do you think the announcement of players who are going to be in this field keep getting pushed back more and more because guys are dropping the LIV Tour? Guys that were going to go play?
They're just not making the sales, Mike. You and I know how it is in sales. They're not hitting the quota at all right now. They're not getting any names. No one's committing. The time is ticking. Summer's going by, and everyone's staying with their allegiance to the PGA Tour. That's what it feels like right now. I'm again, beyond the Robert Garrigus and the Jason Kokrak rumor here and there, there's just been absolutely no other smoke. So we'll see what comes of that.
We will. Let's talk about the KitchenAid Senior PGA Championship.
Some other tours
this weekend. Let's talk about Steven Alker. You know Steven Alker, right? He's the hottest golfer in the game right now, whose name isn't Scottie Scheffler or Sam Burns. He's 50 years old. He carded a Sunday 63 to win his 4th event on the PGA, on the Senior Tour. This 50-year-old, who 9 months ago had no status on any tour, is now a 4-time winner and a major champion on the senior circuit. He had over 400 starts without a win on the PGA and Korn Ferry Tours. And now he's a 4-time winner on the senior circuit and has a major championship. I know
that just shows you what that second shot of life is on the Champions Tour, PGA Tour champions, isn't it? It's amazing for guys like Alker and like no pot shot at Bernard Langer, other guys who have been out dominating there for a decade plus. But this is the hottest guy right now in the 50 plus circuit, so it's worth shouting out because he just got a major championship done. And the New Zealander, the Kiwi, Mike, the Kiwi Steven Alker, red hot right now. So I appreciate the shout out.
Let's talk LPGA. They do have a major coming up this next weekend, but this weekend they had match play. They do match play in the LPGA as well. This was the Bank of Hope match play in Las Vegas. Eun-Hee Ji, I don't know if I pronounced that correctly at all.
Yeah, I think it's Eun, but you're close enough.
Eun-Hee Ji won 3-2 at Shadow Creek. It's her first win since 2019, and it means she's in the field at Pine Needles. You may remember her, though, because she won the Women's U.S. Open back in 2009.
Perfect timing, right? Like all these years later, getting the win done exactly when you need it to get yourself in the field. And that is neat that they're having that LPGA match play at Shadow Creek. I'm getting very used to that. That's a venue that held previously a match as well.
Yes.
I believe it was a Tiger Phil match, the OG, right? Yeah.
I think it was, yeah.
So that's a cool, really neat track that a lot of people didn't previously get to see, maybe until the last handful of years. One of those courses everyone in the world knew about, Shadow Creek in Vegas, but it was kind of a mystery. So unearthing it and showing it to the golf audience on TV was very cool this past weekend, and a very timely win. Like you mentioned, we're heading into the Women's U.S. Open. Now, for me personally, Mike, I am an LPGA super fan. You know, I follow the tour religiously, and we are regularly having guests on in the women's game of golf. The Women's U.S. Open, for me, seems to register extra because I love seeing the model of consistency that is LPGA Tour golf matched up with the rigorous test of the U.S. Open. I think it's the ultimate match in golf, which is why I always get excited for this week.
Yeah, and they're at Pine Needles, as we said, for the U.S. Open. Biggest purse of the year, hands down, $10 million prize pool going out.
Damn.
And money is there. I'm going to try and tune in as much as possible this weekend to this as well. Sorry,
that's
Jack,
an NBC weekend for you. Yeah,
it is a major. So we're going to be watching. And Nelly Korda is back in the field. So what do we think? What we put money down on Nelly Korda to win this weekend?
Tempting to go with the auto bet, right? It's just like it's when the Tiger re-enters the realm. You know, it is. I'm excited to see. She's been showing off her range sessions the last couple of weeks, so we'll take a look at the odds. Maybe I throw a bonus few LPGA picks on Wednesday evening. Follow Course of Life 1 at Twitter, and you're at MWRINC. We'll have some quick commentary about that before things get going on Thursday for the U.S. Women's Open. I like that.
Also on Wednesday evening is the match. However, this match is completely pointless and worthless, and I have absolutely no interest in whatsoever. Right? I don't even remember who's in it. It's Tom Brady and what's his face, who looks like the homeless man from Green Bay. Wow, I'm forgetting his name.
Yeah, Brady Rogers versus Mahomes and Josh Allen. It's the quarterbacks matchup on the golf course. Yeah. I could hear the sigh from across the country.
Is Tony Romo going to be doing commentary during it? Because that would actually be hilarious.
No, it's not. I think we're going to get some of the TNT crew, which would be nice, though. I'll look for a little bit of a consolation. But again, yeah, it's just that thought that what have we really done here? We started this concept as a golf match in which we were going to mix the world's best golfers against each other, which in theory was great. We led with Tiger Phil, and there were many iterations we could have done off that to just continue along that line with golfers being the key word. Now it's just all quarterbacks playing. And I know that a few of them have good golf game. This is just more of an ESPN first take drama than it really is a golf drama for any true fans of the game. That's the way I'm feeling about this. I don't know if I'm a little kind of starstruck by it, but I'm very ambiguous on this format specifically.
Yeah, I'm just not. The last few matches in general just haven't been as interesting, and since we lost the star power, and the whole point of it being, Tiger and Phil, or at least two guys that you always wanted to see against each other. And that was the draw of it. And we don't have that anymore. So now we're just trying to shove people together, because it feels like the issue here is scheduling. Like no one wants to take the time out of their schedule to do this.
Well, and it's just a very finite moment here in the summer when you can get these NFL guys. This is the only time we can get the NFL guys. So
yeah. And maybe what we need is we need Bubba to flex his muscle and get a PGA star and an LPGA star doing this. Because that's what we've been saying we want out of this, right? We want the Korda sisters versus two guys from the PGA Tour.
And you know what? The one who I think bombs it on the LPGA Tour that can keep up from a distance perspective as well, maybe not quite 2 quarters, is Lexi Thompson too. She's got a huge audience as well. She hits the ball very far as is, so she can actually keep up with the yardage of a lot of these longer courses. And I think that would be a really phenomenal matchup if we get those two females out there soon. So, I mean, again, we're just talking out loud, but we're hoping that's a sooner iteration of the match.
Past the match, we do get the memorial at Jack's place, which, like we said, will get upstaged. Probably not. I don't think it's actually going to happen when the LIV announces this weekend who's actually playing in London.
Yes.
But in the meantime, Jack gets to host the memorial. Always a super fun weekend. Do we think Jon Rahm will get kicked out on Saturday after his round?
Oh, you just reminded me. That was last year. Okay, yes. I was hopping off the plane from a vacation in Florida, I believe, or Mexico, and I saw Jon Rahm had to pull out with a 6-shot lead. How funny that was a year ago, Mike. Yeah, at Muirfield Village. So he's back for revenge, certainly. I'm going to add that into my preview on runyourpool.com. But yeah, it's a loaded field. Cantlay, Morikawa, Rory, Spieth, Rahm, Bryson, Will Zalatoris, Cam Smith. So a lot of the top names showing up. Obviously, Mike, you get that pat on the shoulder from Grandpa Jack, and he wants you to come out to his place and play a couple weeks before a major. It's hard to say no. So pretty solid field lined up this week.
Yep. So our full picks up there on Twitter. We got a lot of things to pick for this weekend, so we'll have them all there. Let's bring back the Course of Life book club. The big book that dropped just 2 weeks ago, of course, was all about Phil Mickelson. And we've gone ahead and started chapter 1 here just to get us rolling.
Well, yeah, I mean, chapter 1 was the ultimate tease in this book right here. By the way, Phil, the rip-roaring, parentheses, and unauthorized biography of golf's most colorful superstar by Alan Shipnuck. It's a fantastic read, already getting into chapter 1 right now, which was very open-ended, Mike. It was just quite simply asking around, finding different guys from the world of golf and the world of sports. Just tell me your best Phil Mickelson story, and it certainly went in several different directions.
Yeah, I mean, you got either that Phil Mickelson is a cocky asshole who needs to be the center of attention, or Phil is a godsend who is an angel among the horribleness that is the rest of the world.
Right. Well, basically, Phil Mickelson can't do wrong. And this is not even limited to the golf course. This goes beyond golf. Phil Mickelson thinks in the right moment, according to Tom Candiotti, former major leaguer, that Phil could just be a major league hitter and could just get it done and just rake in MLB. And that's not the case at all. We proved that out eventually with that story. Phil thought he could be a good pilot and just fly a plane. Just trust me. I know how to fly this plane. It's fine. Mike, would you put your hand in the life of Phil Mickelson, not knowing his pilot license status?
I would probably not.
So lots of moments of heroism from Phil in which he wasn't necessarily the hero at the moment. Let's just say that.
Yeah. So basically we've laid a groundwork of we don't know what kind of person Phil really is because everyone has a different story.
But what we do clarify is he is a betaholic. We're going to get into that much, much more as the rest of these 18 more chapters go. We've already prefaced it and teased it with some stories from Gary McCord in the booth, but he will just put side action on anything. And here's the thing, Mike, when you have funds like Phil does, your casual side action, for you or me might be like $1 to $5, but for him, it's $1 to $5,000. So if you do the math and you make as many bets as he does, you can get yourself in trouble pretty fast. So chapter 1 of the book certainly teased that.
It is indeed. And we're going to do 3 chapters a week from here on out to get through the remaining 18. So we'll do chapters 2, 3, and 4 next week. Read along with us. Let us know what you think on social.
Yes.
And we'll have some fun.
You can prime this and it gets to you within a few days. Evidence for myself right now. So it gets to you pretty fast. It's a great read from Alan Shipnuck. Chapter 1, awesome preface. You just heard our preview there, and we're off to the rest of the book from there.
Let's go ahead and get into Tuned In, where we share what we're tuning into outside of the world of sports. I made my first return to the movie theaters without a mask since, I saw Bond in theaters. Yeah, that's right. But that was with a mask on. But yeah, first trip back to the movies with the wife. So we went and saw a movie.
Regular Life. What'd you say?
We saw Everything, Everywhere, All at Once.
Oh, yes. So this is that movie that I don't know much about the plot. I haven't searched much or heard a synopsis, but I just hear everyone's reaction walking away is that this is the changer. Like that, there's something special about this movie.
Is that true? One of the best movies I've seen in a while.
Wow. Okay.
Especially in theaters. Michelle Yeoh is fantastic in it. Basically, it is. I'll give you what was supposedly the IMDb synopsis before the movie came out. Okay, because they wanted to keep the plot kind of under wraps.
Yes.
A Chinese immigrant tries to do her taxes.
Okay. All right. That's fairly simple.
What I'll add to it to make it a little more interesting for you is she, during her attempt to do her taxes, she travels the multiverse.
Whoa. Okay. Multiverse. All right. Wasn't expecting that plot twist. All right.
Yep. There you go.
Okay.
So fantastic movie. And what's even better about it, I mean, Michelle Yeoh is fantastic in it. Playing her husband in the movie is Short Round from Indiana Jones.
Oh, nice. Just saw an Indiana Jones movie marathon on this weekend as well.
There you go.
Very cool. Nice.
There you go.
Love that. All right. So, everything, everywhere, all at once. The other movie hype that I really just wanted to talk about, it's not what I've tuned into yet, but it's just the hype surrounding the Top Gun remake, Mike. Any interest in seeing Tom Cruise flex his muscles 40 years later?
Well, here's the thing. I haven't seen the original.
Neither has my wife. I'm shocked. Wow, the both of you, huh?
Yeah.
Interesting.
You would think that I would have, because I've seen a lot of movies and a lot of stuff from the 80s and 90s especially, but I have not seen the original Top Gun.
So what I'm hearing is the new age reboot with Tom Cruise, Miles Teller, John Hamm, etc. is a fantastic remake. Essentially, we're just pouring back on all the old vibes from the 80s. The only difference is, Mike, we've changed the iconic beach volleyball scene. We changed it to a beach football scene. So we just modernized it in that aspect, but it gives you all the throwback vibes. They start and lead immediately with the Danger Zone. So you know it's epic. I'm excited to see it. I'm going to see it in the next week or two, and I'll give my formal review, but the hype has been tremendous so far.
I will say whatever you want to say about Tom Cruise as a person. He is one fantastic movie-making entertainer. He knows what people like, and he's able to hit all those notes in all the movies he's doing right now.
The guy's a little tweaked, but he just gets it done on the screen.
There you go.
He just gets it done. So I'm excited to tune into that.
For now, let's tune in to this week's guest, Alex.
Yes, love profiling players from the Korn Ferry Tour, Mike. We have another one on now. So always good to connect with up-and-coming stars in the world of golf. This one's very unique. I know you're going to appreciate this. This is a professional golfer who has worldwide choir experience performing at iconic venues around the world. I'm going to let you listen to the conversation to hear about his background, but fantastic interview coming your way with Jay Card.
I'm very curious to hear this one. But first, let's talk about our favorite golf balls out there on the course. It's the Volvic XT Soft and the Volvic Vivid. You know, it's really nice, Alex, to be able to go out there and have a ball that matches the color of your shirt and socks and just coordinate your entire outfit with a ball that gives you the performance you anticipate out there.
I agree, and I'm not here to I'm here to sell a good golf ball that I like in the Volvic, because I play the XT Soft and the Vivid regularly. But what I am here to also sell is a little style, a little swag, a little fashion. So it's always nice to match as well too. So why not have a nice bright shiny ball you can easily recognize on the course, right?
Yeah, we've been firm believers. Like, you need to look like you have extreme. You need to be confident in your look. You need to look like you belong in order to play like you belong, or at least to have a good time. So if you're confident in what you look like and you have a ball to match, your whole outfit all of a sudden just clicks, and you're just going to play better and feel better and have more fun. And that's the most important thing out there. So you can get yourself these Volvic balls that come in a wide range of colors at volvic.com, VOLVIK.com. The Vivid comes in a multi-pack of colors, so you can get all the colors in one box, so you don't need to worry about buying, 4 different boxes if you don't want to load up right now for them. But I mean, why not load up right now? You're going to love it. So again, that's volvic.com, VOLVIK.com. They got merch and towels and accessories and all these other cool collectibles on their site as well. So check it all out. Performance in color. Volvic has a ball for every swing.
Next up on the tee, we have a pro golfer currently playing on the Korn Ferry Tour who has a fascinating background in musical performance as well. It's Jay Card joining us on the Course of Life. Jay, how's everything going where you are?
Everything's awesome. It's just glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. Yeah, we've had a lot of friends of the show on the Korn Ferry Tour and the Korn Ferry Tour staff as well. I heard you sing before I even saw you swing a golf club, actually. So I'm really curious, first off, since that awesome clip went out on the internet of you singing straight down the middle, how many times have you been asked to sing since that day?
It's definitely popped up. Sometimes on the golf course, sometimes off the golf course. But luckily not too many times because it's one of those things. It's definitely turns some heads when you're out there.
Yes. Awesome hearing your voice there. I won't bug you for singing. That was the clip right there. So everyone knows you got a legit voice. It's very cool. You joined the choir from what I read at a time when you were kind of trying to figure yourself out, high school, college, that phase in your life where you're wondering, where things are going to go for you. I'm curious, what inspired the decision to kind of dive into the choir specifically?
Yeah. So in my hometown where I grew up, I went to a public high school, and I had like 16 kids in my graduating class. So it was really small, and it was kind of one of those environments where everyone does everything. So you're in choir from the time you're in kindergarten until you're in ninth grade. And then I just kind of stuck with it because my sister stuck with it. And I felt like, I went to High Point University, which was like still like a smaller school, like in the grand scheme of things.
North Carolina, right?
Yeah, North Carolina. And it was still, just being around that many people was still like a little overwhelming. And I thought, you know what, like it's something I really do enjoy. And I thought it'd be like a really nice way to like make some friends and like still do something that I liked. So I was like, I might as well join choir and see what happens.
Very neat. Awesome social opportunity and a really cool opportunity for yourself because it afforded you the opportunity to travel to some really amazing places. You performed at the Vatican and Carnegie Hall. These are quite epic venues just on the world stage. I'm curious, worst nerves for you, performing at the Vatican or Carnegie Hall or first tee shot of a Korn Ferry Tour event?
Oh gosh. I would say my first Korn Ferry event tee shot ever. But now it's definitely leveled out a little bit. I'd say my first Korn Ferry shot like ever was like number one, and then Vatican was probably number two. There's just something about like walking into this building and like looking around, like the history there, and everyone who's come through that room. There's just like something like so much larger than yourself in that situation. And that definitely kind of like gives me chills. Like that was like a really, really cool nervous experience.
That's neat. From the nerves and performance perspective, I'm curious, do you lean on that? Did that prepare you at all to kind of perform and play golf in front of crowds in tournaments, having that prior experience performing like that?
Oh, definitely. I think having like a music and theater background helps a little bit, whether think of it as like I'm playing a role out on the golf course where like, I'm like a Tiger Woods kind of guy or something, because you never really portray like what you feel inside. Like we look at these guys on TV or like out in the Korn Ferry, we look like so calm, collected, but things are happening a lot faster inside. But the one thing I really like to say is that, if you mess up in like a crowd full of people singing a song, and then like if all of a sudden like, you stop, everyone knows you messed up, and it's a little bit hard to pick up from there. But look at Justin Thomas last week, shanked a shot and like still went on to win the PGA.
Right,
like, there's such an amazing opportunity in golf to like kind of recover from your mistakes, which I honestly love because tell you, there's nothing more nerve wracking than standing up in front of a room full of people or watching someone stand up in front of a room full of people and like just, I don't know, like fall off the rails. It's a really hard thing to watch.
Yeah, and as solo and isolated as those moments are on the tee when you play the game of golf, it is interesting that the game does give you those second and third takes if you're lucky enough. So very unique. I want to talk about the first stage where I really saw your name dating back in your golf background. First big stage for you was definitely the U.S. Amateur 2016, wouldn't you say? What went into qualifying for that?
Yeah. It was just it was like such a really cool event for me to really say like, I've always wanted to play golf professionally, but I've never really done a lot. Like I never really took it that seriously. Like I just want to hit the golf ball really far when I was younger and didn't really care what I shot. And, so like I didn't have my best stuff in qualifying that day. Like, I like to draw it. And I was hitting these like little slappy cuts and to like still find a way to get in, like a sectional medalist, was awesome. And then just like being there on that stage, I was looking around and, I got to play with some like really amazing golfers while I was there. I played with Jackson Brar, who's on the European tour now. I played with Colin Morikawa and Davis Riley in my practice round. I'm just looking around, like looking back at it now, I'm like, oh my God, like look at these guys. Like that's crazy. But in the moment I was like, I have no idea who they are. And like, I know this kid plays in Alabama, but I was like, he doesn't do anything that I can't do. So it was really like a moment for me where I was like, you know what? Like, I think I can really do this thing.
Very cool. That's a neat stage, seeing early Morikawa and Davis Riley as well. Look where they are now. You'll hopefully be joining them soon. One thing that I did notice about your background in golf, which is fascinating to me, is your college career in golf was fairly limited, playing just a season. And I noticed you. Is it true that you averaged 80 in your college golf career, and then just a few years later you were qualifying for the USA? And what gives, and how did you transform your game like that?
Oh yeah. I mean, I was just fortunate enough to have the opportunity to walk on. And from a kid who grew up in the Northeast, as I'm sure like a lot of people know, like when you transition to the South, there's a little something called Bermuda.
Yes. Where did you grow up specifically in the Northeast?
I grew up on Shelter Island in Long Island, New York, which is about almost as far out as you can go and about as isolated as you can get. There's a lot of good golf out there, but none of this Bermuda or like rainy stuff. So
yeah, that's the cold part of New York for sure. I grew up in the Massachusetts, Boston area, so I know all about that weather.
Yeah. So that was definitely a shock. And I don't think, I think everything happens for a reason and things just, I don't think I really was in a great place in my golf game at the time. Like, I don't think I was anywhere near the golfer that I could have been, whether it was just the guidance I had at the time or, just Bermuda, like, the putting, the grain, the chipping, like, you just miss a green and then all of a sudden it takes you like 2 or 3 shots to get on the green. Like sometimes I'm like, I'm in this rough. Do I putt out of the rough? Yeah, it's just kind of like a whole shock and confidence shake right there. That was definitely like a major adjustment. And like, now I've like come to love it after spending a bunch of winters down in Florida. So it was just a really, really interesting time right there.
Very cool. Amazing. I hope to pick up that sort of juju for my golf game and get myself more routinely into the 70s like you did. That was very impressive to hear about. And then in terms of kind of post-college, post-amateur experience, the decision to actually give it a go and try the professional golf grind. Normally, I just ask about the decision. I'm curious for you specifically, Jay, who in your life was maybe part of making that decision to go pro?
Yeah. So I think it was something I realized I really wanted to do in college, like whether that like freshman year, I was like kind of like, I wanted to, when I first started college, I was going to be bio pre-med. I wanted to be a plastic surgeon. Like I did really well for the first semester. And then I realized I really didn't like going to class, and med school meant a lot more class. And golf was always just kind of that thing that like I really wanted to do. And, things just didn't happen at that time for me. But my parents said, just stick it out, get your degree, and then you can like chase golf after college. And so that's what I did. I didn't turn pro until 2018, and I graduated in 2016. I stayed AM, and I wanted to see just how good I could get. That was basically the goal right there. My dad was extremely supportive, and my golf pro at the time, Bob DiStefano, was like extremely supportive as well. And I had like nothing to lose. It was 21, 22, and I had friends who were working office jobs, and here I am like caddying in the Hamptons in the summer. And then I'd go down to Jupiter in the winter and work at these golf courses, these amazing places. And I was always outside and warm, and I'd go to the beach my days off or paddleboard. And
that's life.
Things just seemed pretty good.
Yeah, you did it. You made it at 22 right there in that moment. Yeah. There was more to come, but you did make it in that moment for 22. Tell me about that experience. I heard you got to work specifically at the Bears Club, right? And which is pretty much the haunt for like all the world's best players when they're on an off day or off week. Is that right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was such a cool opportunity. So when I first ended up down there, I was living in a house with 5 guys, and it felt like something like a Jersey Shore. We could have had a reality TV show, but I was working at Jupiter Hills at the time, and they were all at Bears Club. So it was just kind of one of those things. I was like, oh man, like I just can't wait. Like I would love the opportunity to work there, to be around those guys. Because you want to surround yourself with the best people you can, and that's the place. I'm super thankful for the experiences I've had at Jupiter Hills and Dye Preserve, and I ended up at Bears Club the last 2 years, thanks to my friends. They are literally the only reason I got that job. But it's such an extraordinary place. I'm sitting there in the morning cleaning golf carts, and Rory pulls up in his golf car. We chat for a couple minutes. He goes in to have breakfast. I'm just looking around. I was like, oh my God, that was Rory McIlroy. It's such an amazing place. And even like having like Jack Nicklaus like roll through to like walk in and ride around in a golf cart with them. It's a really, really amazing place.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I'm sure it definitely does stun you at first, but the act of being able to get used to being around guys like that is hopefully beneficial for your pro career in the long run.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of one of those things you start to realize, like I said, with the USAM, with like Davis Riley and Colin Morikawa, you're looking around and, I'm watching these guys hit golf balls, and like there are a couple guys where what they do is different or special. Like watching Rory hit a driver, Justin Thomas hit irons, Rory hit irons, or like, some guys just have like, it's totally different. But for the most part, I'm looking around, I'm like, okay, like I know they're really good and they're, really good at putting their games together and making it happen even when they don't have it. But there was like no moment like for all the hours I watched them practice or talk to them, I was like, I think like I could really do this too. There was no deterrent. It was just nothing but positive and support from a lot of the guys out there. And just like an amazing opportunity to sit there. One of my shifts is to work the range, and I'm washing clubs for members and chatting and telling them where to go on the golf course. And then I turn around and go over and watch Rory hit some golf balls or hang out with Matt Fitzpatrick for a little bit. And it's really cool.
Very neat. Awesome. Before we get to where your golf got real serious in the last couple of years, I'm curious, tell me a little bit about the grind before, getting through Q School and Korn Ferry events happened. What were some of the random tours or random events you played on before that?
So luckily in South Florida, we have the minor league golf tour, which is amazing. Okay. I mean, you'll see some of the guys on the PGA Tour and Korn Ferry, if they're in the area, like they'll play those events in the off week. Boho plays a lot, like Chris Ventura. And the competition is so good out there. I mean, if you're not going low, like you really don't have a chance. Like you could shoot 66 and, you might finish like fourth or fifth or, so, I mean, it really kind of teaches you that, hey, you got to go out there on these setups where they have like, might be similar to a Monday qualifier, and you really got to golf your ball. But like, the COVID year was kind of tough. I drove from New York to the UP and Sault Ste. Marie. I played their invitational up there, which is like a 17-hour drive. But I was kind of nervous about flying with everything. And, New York, I'm lucky we have 3 really good events out there. But I played like the Mass Open, Vermont Open, New Hampshire State Open. Just kind of like the Pros for Pros Tour, which was around for a little bit. Just anything I really could find to play in. The one thing I'm like lacking, and still am lacking a little bit, is tournament experience, making like the right decision in the moment, or, just kind of like adjusting my game a little bit based on the conditions. And I flew to Arizona, flew to Texas to play in those state opens. I'll play in anything I can play in, basically.
I love it. He'll tee it up anywhere. Jay Card joining us here on the Course of Life. He's on the Korn Ferry Tour now. So he got conditional status originally, but I know things really got going, obviously, here recently with the week in Panama. Let's start there. And specifically, you did Monday qualify for that event. Is that correct?
I did, yeah.
Let's talk about that specifically. We've had Ryan French, the Monday Q info guy, on the show and talked about kind of lots of Monday Q journeys before. It's one shot here or there in the moment that can like change everything in your week. I want you to remember back specifically that Monday and maybe what sticks out to you that helped get you into that tournament.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It was just kind of one of those days. I think I got off to like a decent little start, got a couple birdies in. I think I turned it like 4 under, and I vividly remember on the 16th hole, I hit in this fairway bunker on the left side, and I see this guy in front of me on the green. They're a little slow. They're twosome. And I'm like, all right, just like pick it up. Let's keep going. And I'm at like 5 under. And, normally in Monday qualifiers, there's 4 spots, but for Colombia and Panama, there's only 2. So, like you really have to go out there and put up something low. And I think I was at 6 under at the time in that bunker. And I was looking at this guy, like made a putt and like fist bumped. And I was like, all right, like, I don't know what he's at. I don't know what I'm doing, but like that guy right there, like I want to like beat this guy, or like, I'm not going to let him fist bump around the golf course, like kick me out of like making this event. So I hit like a high cut 5-iron out of this bunker to 40 feet. And I was like, this putt's going in. Like, I don't care what happens. Like this ball is going in, and I make this 40 footer. And I'm like, all right, like I'm going to smoke this guy in front of me. And then, I get up to the next hole and have a really good up and down for par. It's a tough par 3. And 18, I pull my drive left and have to hit like a little like bump and run under some trees down there and have like a good wedge number, hit it in there to 10 feet. and I'm at 7 under, and I have no idea what this other guy's at. Like, I've seen the scores in the past, like
Right.
8, 9
Just
under.
keep going lower. However low you are, just keep going lower on a Monday.
Exactly. And I'm over this 10-footer. I'm like, you know what? If I make this putt, my life becomes significantly easier for the next 20 minutes while the groups behind me come in. And if I don't, like, I still think I'm in an okay place. And I mean, I hit this putt and it just barely trickles over the edge. And I mean, the full body adrenaline rush, it's like the same feeling as winning a tournament. Like, I was like 8 under. Okay, I feel really good. I saw that there were like 6 under in the clubhouse. So like, I felt like I was in a really good spot and ended up like winning by 2. And, Monday qualifying is so hard. And like, I've sniffed it once or twice, but so many things have to go right in a round like that. 8 under on the golf course is a really, really good round of golf, especially if it's not in like pristine shape where, there's no imperfections on the green. Like, it was my day to have a day.
Yeah.
If you're not
Perfect
signed up,
Monday.
you don't have a chance.
Indeed.
So.
And that turned into a lot more. Obviously, an amazing finish there, rolled into the next tournament, an amazing finish there. And now here you are full time on the Korn Ferry Tour. What is it about that idea of how, you can go from where you were to where you are now in just a couple of short weeks, kind of that helps keep you going motivationally as a pro?
Yeah. Like, when I looked at where I finished the Q school, I finished 80th, just had like one round that kind of took me out of it. And I really wasn't sure if I was going to get a start at all this year. I didn't really know how it worked. Like, as a rookie, there's a lot of things you don't really know and you're just not certain about, but just to like have those really 2 good weeks I had that set me up going forward. Like, one, it really helped with the confidence that like, I belong out here. Like, I'm out here for a reason. Like, I'm playing some good golf. Like, I've earned everything, every opportunity I've been given, I earned, which like I really take a lot of pride in. As far as going forward, it's, I think one of the things I was talking to Matt Fitzpatrick about is, you're good. Like, you're out here for a reason. You really don't have to change a lot. And I think that's the confidence boost right there is when I go out, I know if I prepare the same, there's enough events out there where I'm going to get hot. Like, I know I do the right things. I'm not searching and constantly digging for something. It's, if I like prepare the right way and do what I know I can do, it's good enough to contend out there to top 5, top 10, like even win. It's, it's a really nice feeling.
That's a good feeling to have. Yeah. Keep it rolling, Jay. Definitely on the Korn Ferry Tour. That's exciting to hear. We're going to be following for the rest of the season. Regarding Matthew Fitzpatrick, I'm curious. We've learned a lot about him because of his amazing week at the PGA. And do you see him taking the feverish notes for every single golf shot he hits when you're at Bears Club? Does he really carry that off the course to his practice as well?
Oh yeah. Every single shot he hits in the flight scope. If he's doing speed training, he's writing down like all his numbers, like whatever he's doing on the flight scope. He does these short game drills and he's writing down his proximity to the hole, the chips he hits. It's really impressive because I keep stats in my round. I put them into the Decade app and, I like to keep track of my stats. So I know I have like appropriate feedback for how I feel, what happened, based on the numbers. And
yeah, he's going next level.
It's amazing the amount of work and time that he puts in there. It's amazing. It's phenomenal. It's so cool to watch.
Very cool. It's J Card and the number 3 on Instagram. Let's get to some random quick shot questions here. These are all over the board, so prepared for anything. I'm going to start with a random one. It's J Card the third. I don't know anything about the first or second J Card, but the question is, who would win a match? J Card the first and the second best ball in their prime versus J Card the third, 2-on-1. Who wins?
Oh, they got no shot.
No shot. All right.
No shot. I don't think J Card played one, or J Card 1 played.
I was just going to ask. There's a chance that these guys don't play golf. So whoever these fine gentlemen are that create your lineage. All right. Next question is regarding a Google search for J Card. What comes up instantly on Google is a Jay-Z, the rapper, trading card that sold for over $100,000 autographed by him. I couldn't believe this, but I'm curious, Jay, what random collectible would you spend like an absurd amount of money on if you could to add to your collection?
A random collectible. If I had all the money in the world, I would love to buy like a really nice saxophone. I feel like that's something that like, I love jazz and like live music in general. And like you get like some of these instruments are just a ridiculous amount of money. Like whether it's like a $15,000 saxophone or like you look at violins, like there's $1 million violins because they were made, hundreds of years ago with this old wood and stuff.
Right.
But I would probably say like some saxophone I think would be awesome.
I like that. That's a nice display piece in the house as well, too.
Yeah.
Good stuff. We got our boots on the ground and a lot of friends on the Korn Ferry Tour. So I was told that I have to ask about Jay Card's birdie shirt. Is this one specific shirt? And how did it get nicknamed the birdie shirt?
Yeah, it's one specific shirt. One of my buddies got a head pro job down in Delray at Seagate Golf Club or Country Club. And it's this scale shirt, has a bunch of tuna fish all over it. And I got it for my member guest last summer for my buddy. We got matching shirts. And I played the member guest as a +6 and we won the member guest. So I was like, all right, like so many things had to go right for us to like happen to like win this member guest. And then like I like wore it in the first stage of Q school. I think it was on my last day and shot like 4 under maybe or 3, like I think I had a crazy back 9. I went like eagle, par, eagle, like 2 or 3 birdies and 2 bogeys and like got through.
Wow. And
then in the second stage of Q school, I wore it in my 3rd round and I shot like 6 or 7 under. And then in Columbia, I wear it in the 3rd round and shoot like 6 under or 7, whatever it was. I just like it's Tiger has his like Sunday red and I have my Saturday like birdie shirt. So it's let me down once this year so far, but it happens.
That's okay. It sounds like there's a tuna brand out there that needs to sponsor you. So all my, our friends at Chicken to the Sea or something like that need to reach out because it sounds like a sponsorship is looming with that shirt.
Exactly.
And I got to ask about something recently I saw on Instagram. You were recently in Nashville for the Korn Ferry Tour, and you definitely expressed appreciation for the Nashville bachelorette party scene. Any follow-up to that post or just an observation there?
Just a great observation. I mean, who doesn't love a good bachelorette party? Everyone's there to have fun, and I'm there to have fun. So nothing like a good time.
What was the craziest maybe themed bachelorette party you saw in Nashville? Because there's always a slightly different theme with each one.
Most of them were pretty tame. I think maybe the best one that I saw was just they were all wearing some like crazy colored wigs, or they had like all kinds of different like fun colored. I think there was nothing that was like out of this world crazy, but
the wig move is pretty popular.
Yeah. I mean, they were just everywhere. I mean, you turn around and every other table in the restaurant was a bachelorette party, but Nashville's a great time. I'd highly recommend it.
Quite an industry there, the bachelorette parties in Nashville. All right, let's wrap with our 19th hole question presented by our friends at Lynx Drinks. When you get to the 19th hole, after a great round, it's your favorite clubhouse, and you get in there, what's your go-to choice, your favorite meal and drink to have?
Oh, favorite drink is a transfusion. I love a stiff transfusion.
Love it.
And favorite food, I can't go wrong with a burger. I go in burger, transfusion, sweet potato fries, and I am in a very happy place.
Nice. Good touch with the sweet potato fries as well. Jay, thank you so much for hopping on the Course of Life. Appreciate it. Looking forward to following the rest of the season and hit them straight.
All right. Thank you. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
And we're back. Great chat there with Jay. I love how athletes are so superstitious and they'll wear those weird articles of clothing or shirts that are just like not in fashion or something, and it just brings them luck. It's crazy.
The tuna fish sponsorship is imminent. I mentioned that, and I'm actually going to double down on that right now. I think Chicken of the Sea and all of the tuna competitors should be in the market for this. There's always some really cool food brand sponsorships, like with golfers, if you've noticed. Like I think Nabisco has sponsored LPGA tournaments in the past. Like that's always a vibe. Mm-hmm. So I think Jay Card is definitely a sponsorship opportunity as he makes his way, hopefully, to the PGA Tour. But excited to see his journey on the Korn Ferry this season. Hey, hopefully he slips in that top 25 and we see him on the big tour next season.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And if you like that conversation with Jay, plus everything else we do here on the podcast, make sure you subscribe on the podcast app that you love to use on your personal device. You can always just listen to us on the morning read. And you can catch us on Instagram. COL Podcast is the official account. Course of Life Alex is Alex. I'm MWRINC. We're on Twitter, YouTube, You can try to friend us on Facebook. Good luck with that. Yeah. But you never know. We're out there. And, while you're at it, give us a thumbs up and a rating too and all that fun stuff. And we'll keep punching out great content for you. The other thing we're going to punch out right now, Alex, is how the Celtics are just the best team in the NBA. I don't care that it took them 7 games. And we are all in on this bandwagon because the luck of the Irish is going to roll to an NBA championship.
I got you for the finals. This is great. Yeah. Wow. All right. We need everyone we can right now. The Celtics definitely underdogs heading into the NBA finals against the Golden State Warriors. It's Steph Curry, it's Klay Thompson, it's Coach Steve Kerr. It's all that championship experience, Mike. So this is definitely going to be a climb for Celtics fans, but what an unbelievable Game 7 win Sunday night in Miami to get it done. First trip in 12 years to the finals for the Celtics. Would you believe it? They last won that title in 2008. With Paul Pierce, Kevin Garnett, and Ray Allen. They got back one more time, but haven't been back since. So big opportunity. But I would just say from a general sports fan's perspective, Boston versus Golden State Warriors, great finals matchup for the NBA.
East Coast, West Coast. How it's, it's not going to be the Lakers. At least it's Golden State.
Yeah, exactly. So it's East Coast versus West Coast. Obviously, Steph, Warriors, they got their 3. Celtics back for the first time with this Tatum, Jaylen Brown crew. I'm holding my breath right now. The games are going to be nice and spaced out, so I got time to breathe. But we'll check back and see. By next week, we'll figure out if we got one of the first 2 in Golden State, Mike. That's the first check mark. If we can steal one of the first 2 on the West Coast, then it's all systems go potentially for another Boston Sports Championship.
We'll see what happens. I'm also curious if the Celtics' success this postseason is what's helping Boston kind of right the ship in baseball, as the Red Sox are now 7-3 coming into this Monday evening as we're recording in their last 10. So what do you think? Is Boston back? Are they gonna go on a surge here and make a run to get one of the 3 wildcard spots? Because there are now 3 wildcard spots in the playoffs. It's a whole different format. We'll get into that as we get later into the season. What do you think? Your Red Sox, are they back?
Alex Cora shaved his beard.
Okay.
That was the game changer. That happened a couple weeks ago, and ever since then, the Red Sox have righted the ship. They've been hitting a lot better. The bullpen's been strong where it needed to be. So that was the answer. That's really all we needed to do. It's amazing what just a quick facial application and shave can do for you, but it's completely changed this club around in the last few weeks. Again, we're still steps away from where we need to be in the AL East, but we got so long to go. You asked for that Memorial Day check-in. I'm giving you the Memorial Day check-in. We're still down, but we're less down than we were at Cinco de Mayo. Let's check back July 4th. How's that sound?
Okay. In the meantime, I'll just keep reminding you that the Yankees are the best team in the American League and one of the best teams in the majors.
Yeah, they're hitting the best out of the ball right now. There's no way.
Yeah. Aaron Judge has 18 home runs right now in the season. He's on pace to break a few records, so we'll see what's going to happen.
Damn.
But for now, let's hashtag always end with food.
Yep, brought to you by our friends at Toasty Bites, makers of Toasty Snacks, Toasty Pops, Super Bites, all the great snacks you need. They're healthy, they're on the go, and they help you keep your day going with great flavors like dark chocolate, cashew, coconut, almond, blueberry, and more. Toasty.com/COL, promo code COL20. Mike, it was Memorial Day weekend for me. So obviously it was a retreat back to the grill. Got back on the charcoal. Kept it very simple. It was just cheeseburgers and dogs, corn on the cob, tater tots, watermelon, just your classic Memorial Day American barbecue to kick off the summer.
Love it. I love simple barbecues like that.
Yep. Toasting the buns, going to do the second and final
grilled
burger
onion.
Tonight that I couldn't eat.
Grilled onion.
And yes, I did grill the onion as well. And I think I have one more grilled onion. I'm going to re-saute the grilled onion for tonight's leftover burgers. That's the game plan here.
There you go. I love it. I did a lot of bread baking this weekend.
Yes.
It's separate from the bread baking and bread work I'm doing at the job now too. This is my own bread baking. So I did. I took some sourdough starter from the workplace because we have so much of it and we get rid of some of it anyway. So I took some home and I made pan au bacon. So I made sourdough bread with bacon in it.
I was putting all the soundtracks to this on our Instagram at AlwaysEndWithFood, having a field day with bacon bread. I mean, there's just so many songs about bacon and bread. So it was an immaculate flavor combination. How did it taste in the end, though?
It tasted better than you would imagine. I mean, really.
I mean, bacon bread, would you just like smear? What did you do? What did you do with it? Did you smear butter on a cheese? Where'd you go?
I mean, first of all, there's bacon fat in the dough. So there's that to begin with. So that's just helps perfume the whole dough with that smoky goodness.
That's just absurd.
The majority of it was eaten with eggs for breakfast, because that, I think, is maybe one of the best applications of it.
Oh yeah, it's like the bacon, eggs, and toast, but you only have to make two things.
Exactly. I didn't do much else with it because that's just kind of when I had it was in the morning. But it certainly would have made a great grilled cheese, for sure. I think that would have been fantastic. You could have gone full Elvis and put peanut butter on it, but
I'm so intrigued. If anyone's interested at home, what's the next iteration of bread that Mike should make? He's done the bacon bread. You've done several other breads, but what else can we just dive in and throw into these breads? These are intriguing concepts for the future. So we'll catch up on those and a lot more. This has been another great episode of The Course of Life. Next week's episode is going to be jam-packed, and we have a special guest, Mike, an actor, model, and musician who played Tarzan on stage, coming up next week on The Course of Life. Everyone have a good week.